My wife's friends pushed her to cheat, so I exposed the truth and let them watch her life fall apart. If you had told me a year ago that I'd be sitting here writing about how my wife of 6 years betrayed me because of her toxic friends, I would have laughed in your face. We were solid, or at least I thought we were. We had built a life together, traveled the world, shared inside jokes that no one else would get. I genuinely believed we had something rare, something real. Turns out, all it took was a group of influences whispering in her ear to ruin everything. I'm 34M, and my now ex-wife Emma, 32F, and I had what I thought was a strong marriage. We weren't perfect, but we communicated well, always supported each other, and actually enjoyed spending time together. Or at least, we used to. It all started when Emma reconnected with some of her old college friends. At first, I didn't think much of it. I was happy for her. Everyone needs good friends, right? But these weren't good friends. These women, let's call them Mia, Sophie, and Jess, were the kind of people who treated relationships like disposable napkins, the kind who bragged about cheating on their boyfriends and laughed about keeping men on their toes. I didn't like them. I didn't like the way they talked about men, about relationships, about their own partners. But I trusted Emma. She wasn't like them, or so I thought. At first, it was small things. Emma started going out more often. Girls' nights that lasted until 3 a.m., weekends where she'd crash at Mia's place instead of coming home. She was dressing differently, wearing outfits that she used to say were too much for a married woman. And then there were the comments. Little jabs from her friends whenever I was around. Emma, you're way too hot to be tied down already. If my man tried to keep me on a leash like that, I'd lose my mind. Marriage is cute and all, but don't you miss the thrill? At first, Emma would laugh them off. She'd roll her eyes and say, "Oh, shut up, you guys." But over time, she stopped brushing it off. Instead, she started agreeing with them. One night, after she got back from another late night out, she crawled into bed next to me, reeking of tequila, and mumbled, "Do you ever think we settled down too fast?" I felt my stomach drop. "What?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. She sighed. "I mean, we've been together since our mid-20s. Don't you ever wonder what it would have been like to, I don't know, experience more?" I turned to look at her, searching her face for any hint that this was just drunk talk. But she wasn't laughing. After that, things only got worse. Emma became distant. She stopped doing the little things she used to, things like texting me during the day to say she missed me, reaching for my hand when we were watching TV, kissing me goodbye before heading out. She was slipping away, and I had no idea how to stop it. Then came the night that changed everything. She had been acting off all week, so when she told me she was going out with Mia and Sophie for just a couple of drinks, I had a bad feeling. I don't normally check her social media, but something told me to that night, and that's when I saw it. Mia had posted a group selfie from some rooftop bar, and there was Emma, smiling, laughing, leaning way too close to some random guy. But the worst part? The caption, "Helping our girl live her best life, wife but not dead." I felt sick. I waited up for her that night. She came home at 2 a.m., stumbling in, giggling to herself. I kept my voice calm. "Who was the guy in Mia's picture?" She blinked at me, confused. "Huh? The guy you were all over in that picture, who is he?" She scoffed, waving me off. "Oh my God, don't be ridiculous. He's just a friend. We were just talking." "Emma, you were sitting in his lap." She rolled her eyes. "Jesus, you sound just like Mia's ex. He was so controlling. Is that what you want to be?" That hit me like a slap. I took a deep breath. "Wanting respect isn't controlling, Emma." She groaned, rubbing her temples. "I don't want to fight about this. It was nothing, just a fun night. Can we not make this a thing?" I let it go. Not because I believed her, but because I needed to see just how deep this went. The final nail in the coffin came a few weeks later. Emma had another girls' night. I didn't even bother questioning it this time. I was exhausted. But around midnight, my phone buzzed. It was a text from one of Emma's other friends, not one of the toxic trio, but someone who actually respected our marriage. And it was just one sentence. "You need to come to Club Nova, now." I didn't even hesitate. I grabbed my keys and drove straight there. When I walked in, I spotted Emma immediately. She wasn't with Mia or Sophie. She wasn't even with a group. She was at the bar, kissing some guy, full on, hands in his hair, his arms wrapped around her waist like I didn't even exist. For a second, I just stood there, completely numb. Then something inside me snapped. I pulled out my phone, took a picture, and walked out. I didn't cause a scene, didn't confront her. because I wasn't going to argue. I was done. I packed a bag that night and stayed at my brother's place. Didn't text her, didn't call. The next morning, she blew up my phone. 20 missed calls, 50 plus texts. Babe, I'm so sorry. It didn't mean anything. I was drunk. Please, let's talk. I ignored every single one. Because now I had a plan. Her friends wanted her to cheat. They encouraged it, told her she deserved to explore. Fine, let's see how they like dealing with the fallout. I spent the rest of the night at my brother's place, lying awake in the guest room, staring at the ceiling. The image of Emma with that guy at the bar kept flashing through my mind over and over again, like some sick joke my brain refused to let go of. I wanted to be angry, to feel the full force of betrayal, but honestly, I just felt numb. 6 years of marriage, thrown away like it meant nothing. And for what? Some drunk, sloppy makeout session with a guy whose name she probably didn't even remember? I finally forced myself to sleep, but the next morning I woke up to a phone flooded with missed calls and texts from Emma. Please, just talk to me. It wasn't what it looked like. I was drunk. I wasn't thinking. You're really just going to ignore me? I turned off my phone and stared at the ceiling again. Was I really just going to ignore her? No. I was going to do something way better. A couple of hours later, my brother knocked on the door. Emma's outside. I sighed. Of course she is. She's been sitting on the curb for like half an hour, he said. Crying? I looked out the window, and there she was, Emma in the same clothes from last night, face buried in her hands, shaking like she was on the verge of falling apart. For a second, just a second, I almost felt bad. Then I remembered why she was here in the first place. I grabbed my keys and stepped outside. She lifted her head the second she heard the door open, eyes wide and puffy from crying. Babe, she whispered, scrambling to her feet. Please? I held up a hand. You have 2 minutes. She sucked in a breath. I fucked up, she said, voice shaking. I was drunk. I wasn't thinking and I made a mistake. But please, don't throw everything away over one stupid night. I stared at her, unblinking. One stupid night? I pulled out my phone, scrolled to the screenshot I took of Mia's Instagram story, and held it up to her face. Emma's face crumpled. I don't even remember that picture being taken. I let out a cold laugh. Oh, well, that makes it okay then. She shook her head. It was just a kiss. It didn't mean anything. I crossed my arms. Emma, you chose to go out. You chose to drink. You chose to get close to another guy. And you chose to kiss him. That wasn't an accident. That wasn't a mistake. That was a series of conscious decisions. And I'm supposed to just, what? Pretend it never happened? She wiped at her eyes. I'll cut them off. Mia, Sophie, Jess. I'll stop talking to them, I swear. We can go to therapy. We can work through this. I stared at her, then exhaled. Emma, I don't want to work through this. The words hit her like a punch to the gut. She staggered back, shaking her head. No, you don't mean that. I do, I said, voice steady. You broke this, and now you get to deal with the consequences. Her lip wobbled. So, that's it? She whispered. You're just done? I looked her dead in the eyes. I was done the second I saw you with him. She let out a choked sob, but I didn't stick around to hear the rest. I turned, walked back inside, and shut the door. And just like that, I was free. Over the next week, Emma's texts went through every stage of grief. First, it was denial. We can fix this. I know we can. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll prove to you that this was just a mistake. Then, anger. Wow. So you're really gonna throw away 6 years over one kiss? You're such a coward. You can't even talk to me. Mia was right about you. That last one made me laugh. Mia, the same Mia who was constantly bragging about cheating on her fiancé? Yeah, I'm sure her opinion was solid. Then came the bargaining. Can we at least meet and talk? I don't want to end things like this. I'll do anything to fix this. And finally, acceptance. I guess this is really happening. Damn right it was. But I wasn't done yet. See, Emma's friends had been pushing her to cheat, encouraging it, telling her she deserved to experience more. Well, if they were so invested in her freedom, then they could deal with the consequences too. So I reached out to their boyfriends. Jess had been dating Mark for almost 2 years. Sophie was seeing some guy named Ethan. And Mia? Mia was engaged. Her fiancé Daniel seemed like a decent guy from the one time I met him. So I found him on social media and sent him a message. Hey man, I know we don't know each other well, but I think you deserve to know what Mia's been up to. It took a couple of hours, but eventually he replied. What do you mean? Oh, buddy, let me show you. I sent him screenshots, messages from Emma's group chat where Mia bragged about cheating on him, laughing about how he was too whipped to notice. I sent him texts Emma had sent me where she admitted her friends encouraged her to cheat. I even threw in a video someone had sent me from the bar, the one where Mia was grinding on a guy who was definitely not her fiance. Daniel went silent for a long time. Then finally, he replied, "Holy sh! Thank you." And just like that, the first domino fell. Mia got dumped spectacularly. Daniel exposed her publicly. He posted everything I sent him on social media, tagging her. Funny how the woman who encouraged my friend's wife to cheat was cheating on me the entire time. Have fun being single, Mia. Jess's boyfriend, Mark, broke up with her too. Turns out she'd been way too comfortable with the idea of cheating, and he wasn't willing to wait around to see if she'd follow Emma's lead. Sophie, her guy just ghosted her completely. And Emma, oh, Emma was furious. How could you do this? You had no right to get involved in their relationships. I laughed out loud. Funny. That's exactly what they did to ours. She tried spinning it like I was the villain, like I went out of my way to destroy lives. But I didn't destroy anything. I just shined a light on what was already there. Emma and her friends thought they were playing some harmless little game, but life doesn't work like that. When you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And they just won the jackpot. I thought the fallout would settle after a few days, maybe a week at most. Emma would cry, her friends would whine, and everyone would move on. But I underestimated just how bad things were going to get for them. After Mia's fiance, Daniel, dumped her in the most public way possible, her life took a nosedive. The post he made exposing her, it went viral, at least in our local social circles. Turns out, when you've built your personality around being an independent woman who doesn't need a man, getting publicly called out for cheating makes you look real stupid. And let me tell you, people did not hold back. Her coworkers found out, her boss found out, even her family found out. And the best part? Her younger sister commented on Daniel's post saying, "Not surprised. She's been like this since high school." Absolute perfection. Mia tried to do damage control, of course. She made some half-assed Instagram post about being human and making mistakes and how everyone deserves a second chance. But that backfired spectacularly when multiple people came forward with stories about how she'd bragged about cheating before. So, yeah, Mia's social life? Dead. Jess and Sophie didn't fare much better. Jess had tried to act like she was just guilty by association, but when screenshots of her encouraging Emma surfaced, her boyfriend Mark pieced out real quick. Sophie was the only one who kept a tiny shred of dignity by laying low and refusing to talk about it, but her dating life? Over. Every guy in our friend circle knew what had gone down, and no one wanted to get involved with someone who saw cheating as just a fun adventure. And then, of course, there was Emma. She was desperate. At first, she played the victim card, told anyone who would listen that I had overreacted, that it was just a kiss, and I had humiliated her by getting involved with her friends' relationships. But the problem with that? No one bought it. Her closest friends? Gone. The mutual friends we had? Firmly on my side. Even people who weren't that close to us started distancing themselves from her. It turns out when you make your whole personality about being a loyal wife, people don't react well when they find out you're anything but. And her family? Oh, her family was furious. Apparently, she'd been lying to them about what happened, telling them I was just being controlling and jealous. But after her own brother reached out to me and I laid out the whole story, complete with screenshots, yeah, they tore into her. Her mom called me personally to apologize for her behavior. Her dad straight up told her she was an embarrassment. And her brother? He just texted me, "You dodged a bullet, man." I won't lie, I felt vindicated. But the best part? The financial disaster she was now facing. See, Emma had never been great with money. She wasn't reckless, but she was comfortable letting me handle our finances. She had a stable job, sure, but she always assumed that I'd be the one making the big financial decisions. So when I filed for divorce, she didn't realize what she was walking away with. Or rather, what she wasn't walking away with. When we bought our house 3 years ago, I had put most of the down payment. We had talked about making it fully joint later on, but we never actually did. So, legally, the house was mine. Same with the car. Same with our savings. And when she found out, she lost her mind. "Wait, what do you mean the house is in your name? It means you need to find a new place to live." She freaked out, started screaming about how I was kicking her out on the street and how I was being petty. I just shrugged. "I'm not kicking you out, Emma. I'm just telling you the reality of the situation. You don't live here anymore. She tried to fight it, tried to claim that since we were married, she was entitled to half, but my lawyer, he was ready. Since she had no kids, no joint mortgage, and no major contributions to the property, she had zero claim to the house. She moved out a week later. Where did she go? To Mia's place, which honestly was hilarious to me. They had encouraged her to cheat, told her she deserved to live her best life, and now they had to deal with her. From what I heard, that lasted a month before Mia kicked her out, too. Apparently, Emma was nonstop whining about how unfair everything was, how I had ruined her life, how she couldn't believe everyone turned on her. Mia, who was already dealing with her own dumpster fire of a reputation, finally snapped and told Emma, maybe if you didn't listen to us, you wouldn't be in this mess. Emma had nowhere else to go, so she ended up renting a tiny one-bedroom across town. And from what I hear, she's struggling. She never realized just how much of her lifestyle depended on me handling the financials. Now she's stuck working extra hours just to keep up. And dating? An absolute disaster. Turns out, guys don't exactly line up for a woman with a publicly known cheating scandal. Every guy she's tried to date either already knows what she did or finds out real fast. One of my friends actually went on a date with her just to hear her side of the story, and apparently she spent half the date crying about how I ruined her life. Yeah, that didn't get her a second date. As for me, I'm thriving. I took some time to focus on myself, hit the gym, reconnected with old friends, even went on a few dates. But honestly, the best part is just the peace. No more walking on eggshells. No more wondering if my own wife is secretly resenting me. No more toxic influences in my life. I can sleep at night knowing that I walked away with my dignity, self-respect, and financial stability intact. Meanwhile, Emma is drowning in the wreckage she created. And the irony? She tried to blame me for it. She actually texted me one last time a few weeks after she moved out. I hope you're happy. You ruined my life. No, Emma. I just stepped aside and let you ruin it yourself. Blocked, deleted, gone. And let me tell you, nothing has ever felt better. I thought blocking Emma would be the end of it, that I'd finally closed the chapter on this ridiculous saga and could move on with my life. But of course, when people like Emma realize they've lost all control, they don't just accept it and move on, they double down. At first, I didn't hear from her for a while. Life was peaceful. I was enjoying my freedom, focusing on myself, going to the gym, reconnecting with old friends, and just appreciating how much lighter my life felt without all the emotional baggage. No stress, no constant suspicion, just peace. Then, out of nowhere, Emma showed up at my house. I had just gotten back from work, still in my button down, keys in hand, when I saw her standing on my porch looking like a complete mess. Her hair was frizzy, her makeup smudged, and she had that desperate, wide-eyed look people get when they're on the verge of completely losing their shit. I sighed. Emma, what are you doing here? She took a shaky breath. Can we talk? No, I said immediately. She flinched, like she wasn't expecting me to be that blunt. Please, just for a minute. I have nothing left. I raised an eyebrow. Sounds like a you problem. She let out a bitter laugh, shaking her head. Jesus, when did you get so cold? I leaned against the doorframe. Probably around the time I walked into a bar and saw my wife making out with some random guy. She winced, eyes dropping to the ground. I know I fucked up, she whispered. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I miss you. I sighed. Emma, you don't miss me. You miss what I did for you. You miss the stability, the financial security, the fact that I actually gave a damn about you. But you don't miss me. She shook her head frantically. That's not true. I crossed my arms. Really? So if I suddenly lost my job, my house, my savings, if I had nothing to offer you, would you still be standing here? Her silence was all the answer I needed. I let out a humorless chuckle. Yeah, that's what I thought. She took a shaky breath. I just, I don't know how to fix this. I gave her a long look. You don't fix this. There is no fixing this. You made your choice, now you have to live with it. She sniffled, wiping at her eyes. So that's it? You're just done with me? I exhaled, shaking my head. Emma, I was done the moment you put your lips on another man. I turned to go inside, but before I could close the door, she grabbed my arm. Wait. Her voice was barely above a whisper. Is there any part of you that still loves me? I looked her in the eyes and said, no. Then I shut the door. That was the last time I ever saw her. After that, things finally settled down. Emma disappeared from my life completely. From what I heard, she burned through her savings fast trying to maintain the lifestyle she had when we were together. When that didn't work, she started bouncing between different apartments, never staying in one place for too long. And dating? An absolute nightmare for her. Apparently, word got around fast about what she did. People talk. And in today's world, screenshots last forever. One of my friends actually ran into her at a bar and sent me a text the next day. Bro, Emma was there trying to flirt with guys, and the second one of them recognized her, he straight up said, "Nah, I'm good. I don't mess with cheaters." I won't lie. I laughed my ass off. Her reputation was trashed. Every guy she tried to date either already knew what she did or found out real fast. She had no real friends left, no relationship, and no stability. She had ruined her own life. And honestly, I had no sympathy left for her. As for Mia, Jess, and Sophie, they weren't doing much better. Mia had completely fallen off the map. After her fiance dumped her and publicly exposed her, she basically became a social pariah. The girl who used to brag about being the queen of hookups was now the most avoided woman in town. Jess tried to act like none of it affected her, but let's just say her dating life never recovered. She moved out of state a few months later. Fresh start, I guess. Sophie was the only one who stayed quiet through the whole mess, which was probably the smartest thing she could have done. But even then, no one really trusted her anymore. And me? I was thriving. I focused on myself, picked up new hobbies, traveled a bit, and just enjoyed my freedom. No more stress. No more wondering if my wife was secretly resenting me. No more dealing with toxic influences poisoning my life. And then, about a year after the divorce, I met someone new. We met at a coffee shop, one of those totally random, unexpected moments where you just click with someone. She was smart, funny, kind, no games, no baggage, just genuine. It started as casual conversation, then turned into coffee dates, then actual dates, and before I knew it, I was falling for someone who actually respected me. And let me tell you, after everything I went through, that feeling was priceless. The last time I heard about Emma was a few months ago. A mutual friend mentioned she had moved back in with her parents. She still blames you, they said. Tells everyone you ruined her life. I just shook my head and laughed. I didn't ruin Emma's life. She did that all on her own. People like Emma and her friends think they can do whatever they want without consequences. They think they can cheat, lie, and manipulate people, and everything will just magically work out in their favor. But life doesn't work like that. Eventually, the truth comes out, and when it does, you either own up to it or you let it destroy you. Emma, she let it destroy her. Me, I walked away with my dignity, my peace, and a future free of toxic people. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way.